So, going back to what we were talking about earlier, you were my first band director in 2013, and I had a full year of sitting under you. And then I remember in that the following summer, it was around band camp time, and there were rumors going around, and you would say different little things here and there, and so we were kind of thinking, maybe he's gonna leave. We don't really know yet. We're just gonna kind of see. And I remember the day that you told us that you were leaving, and which we're over the hurt of you leaving us. No, I'm kidding. But just give me a little bit of insight about, how was that transition, and what was it like making that jump from the high school level and building a program, from the ground up to go into something that was already built that you once marched in, and then being an assistant director?
Well, that whole process was different. I wasn't expecting to leave, but I knew in my heart it was time to go. I felt like I had taken the program as far as I could take it. And, I never said anything to you guys, but we had just did the commercial for WAFB.
I remember that.
We did that commercial, and I remember I was just in my office, and someone just like, pack up everything in your office. And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna pack up my office. And then I just happened to pack it up because they came back to me on a Tuesday, like, pack up everything in your office. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna put it in a box to the side. And some of the students came in, they're like, I'm just telling you, clean up. So it was funny at the time, but I was like, yeah, I had to clean up a little bit, So then I took some of the students to audition on campus, and they made the band. So maybe like a day or two later, everybody was like, Mr. Jackson retired. I was like, Mr. Jackson retired? Like, what? And I was like, I called him and he said, I'm out, Kate, I'm out. I'm gone. It's like, what? You gone? How long? I just saw you, yesterday, and now you gone? So it was kind of like one of those, like, wow. Because, all along we had been talking about, being at a collegiate level as a director. And, it just never really was just something I was like, oh, I got to be a director on the college level. I enjoy teaching and, playing music and writing music and, just being a inspiration to young people and letting them know the truth about life and music. So during that time, during band camp, the first week, I was working really, really hard and doing the same thing we normally do. And the second week, I was kind of backing off because I was hearing the word, and Mr. Hamer called me to do an interview on that Friday of band camp the second week. And I didn't know anything. So it was like people were saying things, but I didn't know what was going on. But anyway, after the interview, I didn't hear anything, and Mr. Hamer called me on Sunday, and he was like, hey, don't say anything. We're going to make an announcement on tomorrow, but we're going to go ahead and hire you. And I was like, oh, wow. So I didn't know how to feel, at the time, but I just knew that I did not want to hurt the students, because I know they were very excited at the time, and we had a nice sized band. We had a lot of students, and just being able to get that call, I was just in amazement. But it seemed like everything was happening for me not to make the interview. My starter went out in my car that I drove to practice, so I had to get a ride home. Get home, my truck, the battery was dead. Wow. Then I was like, I'm down on my last resort, my motorcycle at the time. So I had to ride to the interview with a T-shirt on because I didn't want to have my shirt smell like motorcycle. But once I got that call, it was 1 week before Southern freshman band camp, and I had to go in there head first to get prepared to start writing for a college band when I've been writing for a high school band where I'm starting students off as a freshman and having to put whole notes for third and fourth trumpet parts to coming to a collegiate band where it's a whole different monster. And man, that transition was definitely a rough transition because your ears are not used to the sounds that you're getting from the band that we call a fantasy band because there is no band in America like the Southern University Human Jukebox.
You can say that again.
And so just that transition alone, I mean, some of the students knew me. I had students from Baker in the program and Baton Rouge students in the program, but they didn't know me. They like, who is this black ball guy? Like, you know, so they've heard of me and they know I am a person that likes concert bands. So a lot of the students, they were like, man, they saying you're going to try to come turn us like a big concert band, like another school. I'm like, man, no, I would never do that. Like, what? But that's the perception that people, you know, think of you when they don't know who you are. Right. So I love to have fun. I don't, a lot of, you know, our last battle of the band when we was in the gym, we had, I mean, if they'd have saw me in there, I hope they don't go pull up the clip. But
pull up the clips. Pull up the clips.
We had a good time though. We had a really, really good time. And my transition definitely was one to remember. And I'm always remaining humble because I always remember where I came from. I started at Baker with 6 students. So to be able to build it up to over 100 was a very humbling experience. And to be able to get the opportunity to come to Southern, I was just loving being the assistant director of bands because I ain't have to worry about all the phone calls, all the parents and the boosters and all of those things that give a band director, you know what.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about that no more. It was like all of it is on the person who's in charge. So that was something that I was like, oh man, I don't have to wake up at 5 in the morning to get to work for 6:40. So it had its pros and cons, but I do miss the ballad bands and the camaraderie of all the high schools. Those are some of the things I miss, and I definitely miss the people that showed a lot of love.
Right. And you know, it's funny. I remember after you left and you did transition to Baker, of course, we were ecstatic. Like, every time Southern was on tour, we were like, that's our band director. Every time. I know my mom probably got tired of hearing me say that. But, you know, I think it helped give the community a sense of pride about itself, you know? Because, you know, small Baker, Louisiana, not a whole lot happens, very small, quiet town. But I know for us, it gave a lot of students something to look forward to, especially those of us who are aspiring to be in collegiate bands and stuff like that. But it really gave us a sense of pride. And it made us, you know, see that if you want to do something, go ahead and do it. Because why not take the opportunity, you know? And the program that you built was phenomenal, and the legacy still is living on to this day. So in a way, you know, that's a part of your legacy right there.